Are you guys ready to get started? Yes, no, maybe. So what we're going to do is, first thing that we want to do is we're going to save our copy of it. So we're going to save, each of us going to save our own personal copy of it. So we won't mess up the table that's being generated here. So the way that you're going to do that is if you go up to File, go ahead and hit Make a Copy. I'm going to put Dr. Henry's. So it's only going to have the data that is already entered on there. It's not going to have everybody else's data that is entering it later on. Okay. Okay, so give me thumbs up when you guys have all accomplished that.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I missed that.
I said, give me a thumbs up when you guys have accomplished making a copy. And the way you would do that is you would hit, again, File, go down to Make a Copy, and then select Make a Copy. Okay. Good, good. Okay. So now that you made a copy, what we're going to do, we're going to add another tab. So to add a tab or add another sheet, we hit Add a Sheet. There's a plus sign at the very bottom of the page. You guys see it right here. I circled it in green. You're going to select that. Okay, sounds good. No problem. Okay, so when you select it, it's going to say sheet 2. So we're going to rename sheet 1. So if you click on it, double click on it, that'll pop up and you'll be able to name it. So double sheet 1 is main sheet. Okay, so we're just going to call it main. Double sheet 2, we're going to be working with height. Okay. I'm also letting us know that we're going to go from inches to centimeters. We want it in centimeters. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to first off, we're going to copy all of these individuals. So if you select it, sorry, I get ahead of myself. So what you want to do is drag your mouse as you're holding the left click, sorry, the right click over the all of the ones that are in A, B, and C. And then we click our right click if you guys have a PC. This window will pop up and then you can just hit copy. The other alternative is to hit Control C, which also means to copy. Then what we're going to do is we're going to paste those values in A1. So you're going to put it to A1 and then you're going to hit Control B. Or you can use right click and use the paste function. So I'm going to type that out. You'll see Control C to copy. Control V to paste. Okay. Okay. So if you guys have a Mac, anybody have a Mac?
I do.
Okay. So instead of hitting Control, I think it's Command on the Mac. So it'll be on the Mac. It's CMD, C, CMD, D. Okay. So these are called quick keys. So that once you remember it, it's really quick to sit there and do it. Okay. Oops. I'm going to move this to the side here. Okay. Okay, so the very first one, we're going to actually put the height of the Pepsi in centimeters. So what we're going to do is like this guy, height, sorry, Pepsi, sorry, Pepsi, height, and we're doing it in centimeters. Okay, so does anybody know how many inches or how many centimeters will equal 1 inch? Anyone? Okay, so this is something that you may want to know. If you don't know it, there's also the resource paper on in your modules in Canvas. So you want to sit there and print out that packet because it's in there. And you're able to use that packet on the exam. So you definitely want to take the time to print out that packet.
Is it 2.5?
2.5, yes, 2.54, exactly. Okay, so 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So if my number is in inches, the way I like to look at it, my number is in inches. Can you guys see my screen? The red on my screen?
Yes.
So if I have X inches, and I want to convert that into centimeters, I know that I'm going to put 1 inch on the bottom and 2.54 centimeters on top because I'm going from inches to centimeters. So I want my centimeters to be on top. Okay, so the inches are going to cancel out and we'll be left in centimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a formula that will do exactly that. Now you're going to pay attention to that formula key. The formula key is going to be written up here. It'll actually show up on my, let's see, it'll show up at this location, okay? So what I'm going to do is, let me clear. And then, so we are basically just multiplying it by that value. So I'm going to put equal. I'm going to go to the main page. I'm going to select the very first value that's in inches, and that's in D2. Then I'm going to hit star 2.54. You guys see that? Okay. And then you're going to hit enter at the very end. So then you're going to get a value. Did you guys all get that same value? Yes, no, maybe. You got to give me thumbs up or acknowledge me or raspberry me, something, do something so that I know that you guys got it.
Can you demonstrate that one more time,
Sure.
please?
So I'm going to type in equal. I'm going to go to the main page. I'm going to select D2. I'm going to hit Shift 8, which is for star. And then I'm going to type in 2.54. So all I'm doing is multiplying whatever value that's in D2 by 2.54. And then I'm going to hit the Enter key. Okay. So do you see this little square in the corner? I'll circle it here. Let's see. Right here. Circled in green. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select that square and a cross is going to show. And then I'm going to right click. I'm sorry. Let's see. Keep messing up. Left click, not right click. I'm going to left click and then I'm going to drag down. Okay, so now what I've done is I just copied that formula for each of all of the values that are below it. So I didn't have to sit there and type in each one independent. Did you guys see that? Did you get that?
Yes, I did see it, but I may need to do it over again.
Okay. So try it again. So I'll go over it one more time. So let me go back. Okay, you see the little that square in that corner? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag my mouse over the square. It's going to make a plus. When it makes a plus, I'm going to left click and I'm going to hold it, and then I'm just going to drag down until I get to the end of my data. Okay. So did everybody get those values? Okay, tell me if you did not get those values, do me a favor and give me a reaction. Give me a, let's see, give me a crying emoji if you did not get it.
I think I'm doing something wrong on the first one.
Okay.
'Cause I got a error.
Okay, so do me a favor,
Uh-huh.
share your screen with me. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and then I want you to share your screen.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay, so your error is, so if you go to your very first, I'm gonna write on your screen if I can.
What was that?
No, you don't delete it.
Oh,
Go back. It's a simple mistake.
okay.
So what you want to do is, do you see up here?
Yes.
Okay, click right in front of the equal sign.
Okay.
I'm sorry, right behind the equal sign. Okay, and then go to sheet 1. That's your main sheet. And then select this key. Okay, so it didn't work for me. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to where it says height in centimeters again. I'll clear my circles. Okay, so now go ahead and just delete the whole thing because it's not behaving the way it's supposed to.
Okay.
Okay, now go hit equal. Then select sheet 1. Go down to select sheet 1 down here. And then select that very first key, even though you've deleted the data that's there. Okay, and then hit star.
Shift 8.
Shift 8, yes. And then type in 2.54 and hit return.
Oh
Okay.
my God. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Now drag it down. Okay. Anyone else? Everybody else good? Okay.
I got
Now
the, can I
okay.
share you, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. Stop sharing your screen, please.
Okay.
How do I stop?
So
Oh, right
in the
here.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
So I think I got it, but I got some funky numbers all the way in the bottom. So I don't
Okay.
know if I did it correctly.
Okay,
Okay,
let's take a look.
so let me share my screen. Oh, what is that? So if you look down here, why is this over here? Okay. So if you go over here, you see how I got mine says
Yeah.
0, 0, and then I have zeros.
Yeah, that's because there's no data entered there.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's multiplying it by 0. So as soon as there's data, if there's data ever put there, it'll change. But the thing is that we're not using the main sheet anymore. We're using our copy of it. So you're not going to worry about that data. It's not going to be held up against you, right? You're only going to be worried about the data that you can actually see right now. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Okay.
Yes.
But I
Okay,
think some of
so-
those zeros, there is data on there.
Yeah.
There is now, but there wasn't at first when we copied it over.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So when we first copied it over, there wasn't any data there. Soon as there, everybody's trying to enter their data because they're like, Dr. Henry says that I need to put this up by today, so I need to get it up right now. And so, that's the way it always works, right? So, but I just needed to make sure that we had enough data so I can show you guys how to do the analysis, right? And so you can make the correction later on, right? If you want to do it, but you can just use what we have right now. So to me, I'm like, just use what we have right now. We have more than 10 data points. It'll be pretty enough for us to see, okay? So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to do the exact same thing for the diet soda and the sparkling soda, okay? And then we'll compare to see how well we manage that. Okay, so, and you want to do that the same thing under the height, okay? So we want the height for all of those, but we want them right next to each other, okay? I'm going to start it. I'll show you on the screen for the next one. And then I want you guys to be able to do at least the last one. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I want to do the same thing for the diet. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in diet. I can spell. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to put equal. I'm going to go to my main sheet. Then I'm going to find the height for the diet, which is in H2. So I'm going to go and select H2 star 2.54 and then hit enter. Then I'm going to just go ahead, left click, drag it all the way down. Okay, so you guys are able to do that? Let me know when you've done all three. So let's look at Eric's. So this is Eric's hit. Did you guys get 58.42 for his Pepsi, 96.52 for his diet, and 2.5 for his sparkling? Thumbs up when you guys, if it's correct. Crying face if you can't get it, if it's not working for you. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is draw the graph. So what would be the best type of graph to sit there and show the comparisons between the Diet Pepsis, the sparkling water, and the Pepsi?
Dr. Henry, you were in and out.
Okay, I keep forgetting I have to come closer to my. Okay, can you hear me now?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay, so what is the best type of graph to use to show comparisons between the Diet Pepsi, the Pepsi, and the sparkling water? Would a pie graph make sense? Would a bar graph make sense? Would a line graph make sense?
Bar graph.
Bar graph. Okay, so we're going to make a bar graph. In Google Sheets, they don't call it a bar graph. They actually call it they'll call it a chart. So when you select chart, you'll see column chart. That's going to represent what we're looking at. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back. We're going to highlight our data, our height data. So we're going to highlight all of it, and we're going to highlight the person's name. Okay. So then what we're going to do is then we're going to go to Insert, go to Chart. Okay. And here, this is providing us with a stack column chart, which is not what we want. We want it to be lined up right next to each other. So we're going to go down to where it says column. We're going to select it so it's right next to each other. Wow, somebody's really got up there. Okay, do you guys see your data? Did it pop up? Did your chart pop up?
Yes, it popped up.
Okay, good. So now we're going to customize it. So we don't want it just to say Pepsi, height. You know, we want to sit there and try to give our readers what it is that they're kind of looking at, right? So what would we name this graph? What would be a good name for this graph? Let's see. Looking for the chat window. Nobody's in the chat window. You guys are not talkative today. What's wrong? It's a beautiful day outside. You're in here discussing great science.
That's probably the reason why. It's nice outside and we're inside.
Yeah, I know it's Friday and we should be drowning our sorrows or celebrating our victories, right? So
Right.
we get to do that after this, right? So because once you get this done, you'll be like, I'm done, you know? Okay. So what we want to do, we want a good name that's going to describe this. So what are we looking at? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Right? What are we trying to figure out by looking at the height?
We're comparing.
We're comparing. Okay, so let's say we're going to do comparisons of soda explosions. based upon height. So would that be a good characterization? Okay, so to change the chart title, which I just did, I'm going to hit customize. I'm going to go down to chart and axis titles. I'm going to hit chart title. The title text is going to be right here. And let me circle it. Right here. Okay, and then you'll be able to sit there and type it in. Okay, thumbs up when you guys are all there. Luis, are you there?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Luis? Bernice? Okay, good, good. So you're having trouble? So I'm having trouble displaying the right graph. Okay. So do you mind sharing your screen, Luis? I'll stop sharing mine. So we're going to have you slide your data over to your D. That's cool. Even better. Yes. Okay, so now highlight persons all the way to, yeah. And go over to column F. There we go. Okay. Yeah, hit insert. Go down the chart. Okay, so now you see where it says stacked columns over here, where it says chart type. Select, go down to select column, just column right there. Okay, so now go to customize. Now, yeah, you're good, you're good. And then you see where it says over here where it says title text. Select that. And then you're going to type in, yeah. I think we said soda explosions by height. And I put in centimeters, so I remind myself it's in centimeters. There you go. Okay, good. So the next thing that we're going to do is, I'll start sharing my screen. Everybody else good? Okay, good. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to change my axis title because this axis isn't labeled. Although I know it's height, but I want my reader to know it's height. So that axis is going to be my vertical axis. And so I'm going to put this in height. And we want to make sure we put the units and centimeters. Okay. Okay, so we got our first data done. Now let's look at this data because it's going to be important that we start analyzing the data. So based upon what we see, the trends of everybody's data, what would you guys say is going on?
The diet soda is goes higher.
The diet sodas goes higher. Almost in every case, the diet soda has gone higher. There's a few exceptions, right? They're only small, yeah. Almost every case except for like 5 people, maybe 6 people, right? The diet soda went higher, okay? So based upon that, what can we conclude? Which soda gives us the most explosion.
The diet soda is more reactive to the mints.
Okay, so the diet soda is more reactive to the Mentos. Okay. Okay, so we want to keep that in the back of our mind. So when we're starting to write up our results, we can sit there and say, so based upon the data, trends of the data, it suggests that the diet soda is more reactive. Okay. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to look at the density. Do we have the density? Yes, we do. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add another sheet. We're going to call that sheet density. We're going to do exactly what we did earlier, where we copy the information. Oops, wrong sheet. Over. So now we have our density in what units? Grams per milliliter. So let's go ahead and we're going to keep it in. Actually, no, we're going to change it to I was too good. I didn't want you. I shouldn't have put you guys into grams per milliliter. Let me think. Those are the units that I would always prefer, grams per milliliter. But let's say we're going to change it to grams per liter. Okay. So how can I change from grams per milliliter to grams per liter? Anyone? How many milliliters are in a liter? I heard somebody say it, but they didn't finish it. So there we go. That's right. Thousand grams per. Okay. So we have 1,000 milliliters will equal 1 liter. So if I'm going from 1 gram per milliliter, and I want to change that milliliters to a liter, so I know that if I multiply by 1,000 liters, that's, 1,000 milliliters, that's going to allow me to cancel out my liters. And so then I get to have my answer in grams per liter. So I need to multiply this guy by 1,000. Okay. So we're going to be multiplying our answer by 1,000. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up type. I'm going to put my density. Pepsi density. To 1 gram, grams per liter. I'm going to be a bum here and I'm going to just copy this so I don't have to type as much. And then I'll just change this guy to diet. Then I'm going to change this guy to sparkling. Okay, so I know I need to multiply it by 1,000. So I'll put my equal sign. I'll go to the main page. I'll select my density for Pepsi. I'm going to put star by hitting Shift 8 and 1,000 and hit return. I'm going to do the same thing for my diet. So, and then the same thing for my sparkling. So what I'm doing now is just by highlighting the very top and then selecting in between the two entries, I can adjust the size so it fits it perfectly. So I can see the whole thing. And that's the same thing I could have done over here with the names and the location. I'm going to be a little bit anal here and then capitalize this. Okay. So I'm also gonna make this guy bold. Pretty look there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna select all three of them. I'm gonna run my mouse over the corner. I'm gonna left click, and then I'm just gonna pull down. Okay. So did you guys see that? Tell me when you guys have this all under control.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Good, good. Okay, so then we're just going to do another bar graph, right? Because it doesn't make any sense to do any other type of graph. Go to insert. Darn, Luis, you have some really high densities there, buddy. Was your soda sitting in the store for a very long time? It was like a syrup? Like your values are twice the amount as everybody else's. Okay, so then we want to fix our charts. So this would be a comparison of soda densities. If we go to the horizontal sorry, vertical. This is density. Grams per liter. Okay. Oh, did you calculate the density after you put the Mentos in? For your, when you calculated the density, or did you do it before? Because that would explain why your density is so much greater after. Okay, so then that would explain why it's so much greater, because then all you have is that Mentos dunk in there as well too. So then your density is going to be so much greater than everybody else's. So that does make sense. Okay, so what is the general trend? If you guys take a look at the data, so let's look at the table because the graph is really hard to see. So who typically has the highest densities?
Pepsi,
Pepsi. And which one had the lowest depth, the lowest densities?
for the most part, diet.
Diet. Huh. So do you think that that had an effect because it has a lower density, have an effect on how much stuff is able to escape?
Yeah.
So we want to keep that in the back of our head too, right? Because we know that generally, I mean, in every case except for 1, 2, I'm going to say in almost in every case except for 2, the diet had a lower density than the other sodas. Okay. So in our last sheet, what we're going to do, we're going to calculate flow rate. And flow rate is going to be measured in milliliters over time. Milliliters per, let's do hour. So we have to do a little bit of a conversion. Okay. So flow rate is going to be milliliters per hour. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the main. We're going to copy this part again. Flow rate. And then we're going to be looking at the volume of the Pepsi leaving divided by the time, right? But we want the time in hours. So how can I convert from seconds to hours and keep that at the very bottom, right? So in this case, I'm going to have seconds on the bottom. So I'm going to have my volume over seconds. So if I was changing to hours, how many seconds are in an hour? So how many seconds are in a minute? Start off with that.
60 seconds per minute.
60 seconds per 1 minute. How many minutes in an hour?
60.
So is
Okay.
it 3,600 seconds?
3,600. Or no, 3,000. No, 3,600, right?
Mhm.
3,000. Yeah, 3,600. You're right. Okay, so we're going to be multiplying by 3,600. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. If I go flow rate, so we're going to go Pepsi flow rate. milliliters per hour. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing that we did before. Gonna go to the main. Now we're gonna have the volume of the Pepsi that's leaving. We're gonna divide that, or I'm sorry, we're gonna multiply that by, in this case, 3,600, and then we're gonna divide it by the time. And we're gonna hit return. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with the diet. Diet's volume, leaving, times 3,600 divided by our time. And we're gonna do it with the sparkling water. Volume times 3,600 divided by the time. Okay. So then what we're gonna do, we're gonna graph the data again. Wow, Maria, you had a huge volume leaving. Was it a really hot day when you did it?
No, it's actually cold outside, like really windy.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Now this data is everywhere. Are there any general trends that we can see? So we're going to say comparison. Okay, everybody got their data? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. Let me know when you got it.
I did it. I just don't see the sparkling. I don't think it dragged. I don't see that. I only have a yellow. I mean, I'm sorry, a blue and a red.
So it didn't drag you, it didn't
didn't.
incorporate the sparkling then. That's what
So
happened.
do it all over.
You can do it all over, or you can add it on. So if you share your screen, I'll talk you through it. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
And is everybody good, Louis? You got your data? Is it working? Okay. Let me stop sharing mine. Okay, go ahead and share yours. While you're doing that, grab some more water. Okay, so click onto the graph. If you go here to the side panel,
Where, I'm sorry?
if you go to the side panel, right over here,
Mm,
no, just go click. You see where the yeah,
okay.
no, that's not exactly what we
No.
wanted, but that's right. Hey, yeah, click on the graph again. You see the 3 bars? Click on the 3 bars. Hit edit chart. Okay. So here you see where it says series. Ah, this is what happened. It added this to your series. It added your last one to your series as well, or your first one. Okay. So what you need to do is you want to hit your x-axis up here.
This one?
Yep. Okay, so now you want to change your x-axis. That should be C. So you want to see where it says, yeah, just hit your search and then highlight C1. Yeah. So you want to highlight C1 to the end. Okay, you need to go back to edit. So go back and click, yeah, with the graph, edit. And what we're going to do is we're going to change that, select that, yeah. So we're going to remove.
Remove?
Yep. And then we're going to add. You
So
see where it
edit.
says add X. Yep, select.
Right here?
Here, look, yeah. Let me clear so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you're going to add, select that. Okay, select it. Okay, you see where it says it has the boxes right there?
Yes.
Click on the box. Okay, now go ahead and highlight this range right here. So select this part right here.
It's already highlighted, right?
No, you've got to highlight it. Yeah, there you go.
Got it.
Okay, and hit OK. Okay, so then now we need to add the first range, right? So you want to go ahead and hit down here and say add series. And then you want to select D, yeah. And you see where it says D2, have it select D1. So you're gonna change, we're gonna change all of the ones anyway. So go ahead and select.
Probably would have been easier if I would have done it all over again, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, this is a different form, a different way of doing it.
Yeah,
So select this one, you said?
uh-huh. Perfect. Although, okay, so we're gonna fix our first one because where it says person, we don't want it to have person, so you're right, it should have been D2. So click onto this, the data. And I think if you double click on it, I think you can enter it. So just double click on this part here, on the values. C1, the C1 value?
Here, up here?
No, no,
Oh,
go back to edit. Double click on where it says C1.
mm-hmm.
So move your arrow onto the value itself. Right here, where it says C1.
This, over here.
No, no, click onto the value down here.
Here.
You see where it's highlighted over here?
So
Here,
I
let
just see
me
a bunch
clear.
of scribbles. Sorry.
That's right, that's my fault, because I keep scribbling. There you go, right there,
Okay.
okay? So now type, see if you can type right there or click right there. It doesn't let you?
No.
Okay, so if you click right on the C, it doesn't allow you to go to the C?
No.
Okay. Okay, so then I would say just start over and then select everything and start again.
Okay.
Yeah, so just
Oh.
go ahead and delete that graph and then,
So highlight. But you said don't do.
Person? But no, start at person. So it gives you your titles.
Well, that was a lot easier. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we've played with the data, right? We have all our data, it's looking pretty. And now we can start answering some of the questions, right? So let's go ahead and start writing our lab report. Let me pull up the lab real quick. I have to think for a second. Okay. Let me share my screen. You guys see the lab report? I mean, the lab.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to save my document. I want to make sure it's saved. I think if I just click on my cloud there. Good. Okay, so all saves is changed to my drive, so I'm good to go. So my data is already saved. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to start making a document, right, for my lab report. So if I go to modules, I go under resources, I believe it's there. Okay, so this is how my lab is going to be graded. Okay, so I need to put my title. And of course, I should put my name. And I'm going to put the date because okay, title of my lab report is, well, the lab is called Mentos Kaiser. Okay. So it says clearly state the purpose or description of the problem you're investigating. So I'm just going to be very simple, very frank. I'm going to type purpose. I'm going to make this 12 point. Or 11 point because okay. So what is the purpose?
To compare?
So what was the purpose of the lab? I'm gonna pull up the lab. What was the purpose? What were we supposed to learn from this? Somebody says something. Yes, yes, Cassandra. It's just going to be a simple lab report and just following the instructions. Yes. And then you're going to transfer the data from your spreadsheet into your graph. That's true. Oh, can you guys see? What are you guys looking at? Let's see.
We're looking at your canvas.
It's just my canvas that's showing up.
Yeah.
So what would be the purpose? Again. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my assignments. Where was it again? Mentos lab. Okay, so if I go down here, the purpose of it was to do what?
To help you understand the scientific method.
Okay. Purpose of the lab was to help us understand scientific method. To capture observations and data. Okay, bam. So the next part is to do what? The hypothesis. So what is my hypothesis? What were my hypotheses before I started? What did you guys think would happen? I'll share my hypothesis. So the Pepsi would explode higher over the students compared to the diet and sparkling water. The sparkling water would be second, and the diet would be last. Okay, so those were my hypotheses. Okay, so then you guys don't have to worry about procedures. So I have to modify that. So your points are going to be spread out between these two. Actually, no, it isn't. It's going to be spread out between the data and the results. So we don't have to worry about procedure. So if we go down to, so this is now going to be 12 points, and I'll make the correction.
Do you want us to do the list of materials?
No, don't worry about the list of materials. Also, just worry about your hypotheses and then get down to the nitty gritty. So normally, if you would write a lab report, you would have your list of materials, but your list of materials are mainly for, the list of materials and procedures would be mainly for when you're preparing for the lab in advance before you come into the lab classroom. Fortunately, we don't have a real lab classroom, so you can't prepare for it so much in advance. We're doing it at home, and we have all of our stuff there. So okay, so then I'm going to start my data. Data and observations. Okay. So here you're just going to put your data. You don't have to put the whole class's data. It's just your data. Okay. So let's see, where's my data? So I'm just going to select my data. Okay. So there's my data. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is talk about my observations. So what did I observe? So sparkling water was a dud. It could have been because I stuck my fingers in the soda or in sparkling water. So Diet Pepsi exceeded expectations umbrella the Pepsi diet 41, a little more than half of the height. Okay, so those are my observations. Are you guys still there? Did I lose you?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So then now we're going to go to the results. Okay, so the results section is where we get to talk about our results, right? So the data is just the raw data. It's what you write down, it's what you got, that's it. Okay, results.
When is this report due?
Technically, it would be due to, in a week. Right, so next week it would be due on Friday.
Okay.
Okay, so our results is just that. So now we get to show off our data, all that data that we've done, right? So if I remember correctly, there's a way of putting insert chart from sheets. Okay, so I just entered all my charts in the middle of my results. And so now I just need to kind of go over what went on. Okay, so the first one is comparing heights. No, just this. So here we want to kind of lead our reader as to what we want them to look at. So we want them to do comparisons of the sodas. And if they do comparisons of the sodas, by looking at the chart above, the comparison of soda explosions, chart, we can clearly see that diet soda exploded higher than both Pepsi and sparkling water. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to say for this one. If there's more to say, you'd basically say it, but you want to lead your reader to start thinking, okay, so they'll look at the data, they'll look at the data points, and of course, there are exceptions. You could address some of the exceptions. So in the data set, there are a few exceptions. Exceptions. More information needs to be shared in those cases. Okay. So we also may want to give our reader how we calculate it because we got everything in centimeters. How do we calculate it from centimeters to meters? So the data points were converted from, inches into centimeters by multiplying by 2.5. Oops. In the comparison of soda densities, chart, the general trend was the diet had a low density. Then both the Pepsi and the sparkling water. The Pepsi was generally a little more dense than both. It's funny when my brain works faster than my brain works faster than my hands. Okay. And then what can we say about the flow rate? Anything exciting? Are you guys there? Flow rate seems to be all over the place. Nothing can be concluded based upon the data obtained. Okay. The last part is the conclusion. Okay, so in the conclusion, we want to briefly state the purpose and the hypothesis. So purpose was to use scientific method to show how Pepsi explodes than both sparkling water and diet. Okay, so we would answer the questions from the lab. Let's see, where's the lab? So the display graphs showing difference in height, classmate density. Let's see, is this a physical or chemical reaction? So was this a physical or chemical reaction?
Chemical reaction?
Are you sure?
I was thinking it was physical.
Physical. So why do you say a physical and not a chemical? Why do you say a chemical and not a physical?
Because like the Mentos were like still in their form, like after like putting them in the soda. And I feel
Okay.
like the soda is still soda, like after the experiment.
Okay. So the only thing that changed was what?
The amount of it?
Well, the amount, that's true. The amount changed. Anything else changed? Was it bubbly still?
Oh no, it was like flat.
Okay. So why was it flat? Was that because there was a chemical change? Or was that just because we allowed the carbonation to be released?
Because there was a chemical change, right?
No. Can't you separate things by physical means? So can't I separate a solid from a liquid by using a filter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that would be a physical change. That's not a chemical change. So here, all we did was release gas, right? And of course, some of the liquid came out with it. But basically, when those bubbles that are bubbling up, what was that? That was just carbon dioxide that's being released from the soda, right? The soda is still the soda. The only thing that we did was remove the carbon dioxide and allow the carbon dioxide to escape. So is that a physical change or is that a chemical change? Okay, let's see. How can I explain this? Okay, so let's say I have sand and water together.
It
If
would still
I,
be physical, right? Because like everything is like the same, it's just rearranged, I guess.
that's right, yes. So the correct answer, it would be physical because everything essentially is the same. The only thing is that we've released that gas that was solubilized in the liquid, that was contained in that liquid. Okay, so kind of like when we open the soda, doesn't gas escape?
Right.
That's not a chemical reaction. It's just the gas being able to be released. It's a physical reaction. So similarly, that's what we did with the Mentos. We allowed the surface area of the Mentos to help us release the gas. Now, we had a couple of things that accelerated it, right? And then there's also the fact that the potential fact that the density is less than of the diet soda is less than that of the Pepsi. That may cause it to react even more, or not react, or release even more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Gabriella?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. So it's okay if I call you Gabby? Or do you
Yes,
prefer
I go by
Gabriella?
Gabby all the time.
Okay. Okay. I just want to be sure. Okay. So we're going to say, so the experiment showed us that the reaction was a physical one. Rather than a chemical. So it was physical rather than chemical. So just for the record, I am not an English major. Okay. So then that answers our question. So the next one is, do you think temperature will affect the results? So you said, Maria, it was cold that the day that you did it, and your values look a little different than others, right? So like your value for your density was a little lower. Your values for, well, I guess they look about the same for the height, for the diet, roughly. But all the other ones are pretty low. And then the values for your flow rate was really high. One of them especially. So do you guys think that temperature affects it?
I didn't, for like my part, I don't think temperature really affected it. I think just like really dependent like how much Mentos I got in the soda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say you don't think, I mean, so no. No. Don't believe temperature would have an effect on the reaction. The experiments done in multiple places where temperature varied. How hot was it in Salinas?
Like right now,
Last week when we did this.
it was probably like, it was really chilly that day. It was probably like in like the low 60s maybe.
Mhm. So it was 105 where I was at. So I would probably say that we can probably say that temperature has little to no effect, right?
I
Because
see.
my values don't look too different than anybody else's, right?
Yeah, I actually got lower values and it's 96
Wow.
in Hollister.
Okay. Okay, so now I do not think temperature would have an effect on the reaction because the experiments were, it's not where, were done in multiple places where temperatures varied. Okay, and so the last part would be any other questions? So we need to find a list of ingredients and determine.
What'd you say?
I said, it says find the list of ingredients for the soda, list them and determine if they are element, compound, or molecule. Okay, so we know that they're on the back of my soda. I believe there was phosphoric acid. So is phosphoric acid a compound, element, or okay? And there's a few more. Okay, so let's see what else. And the last part is, let's see. So was this a homogeneous solution or was this a heterogeneous solution? Before and after. Before the Mentos was added, was it homogeneous? What does homogeneous mean again?
Alike?
Alike, okay? So was it all looking alike when we started the reaction, before we started the reaction? So did it all look uniform? Or did it look different? Like two different things in there, or three different things in there,
I think it looked the same.
okay? So it's homogeneous. Okay, during the reaction, that's when we had all the air bubbles coming out. It seemed to be heterogeneous. And then after the reaction, after the Mentos. It was heterogeneous because we had Mentos in it. Okay. So let's see. The last part that we needed for that our report is okay. So my hypothesis was incorrect. Based upon the data, my hypothesis was incorrect. The Diet Pepsi performed better. Okay, and then the last part, let's see. So if something went wrong, explained. Okay. I stuck my fingers in the sparkling water. Values may not be accurate. Due to my sweaty hands. Okay. Okay, so what did you guys learn from the lab? Learn anything? So I learned don't stand under a Mentos geyser. You will get wet and sticky. Okay. So before I submit it, I make sure I have everything that I needed. And then I'd upload it and proofread it one more time. Okay, piece of cake.
I just have one more question. How would we insert the link like for a video?
Oh, all you want to do is here you would put in, let's say, let me see. Let me see. I'm going to steal a link from one of my lectures. Recorded lectures, okay. So I'm going to say that this is my link. Let's see, where's the YouTube? So if I went to my YouTube page, I copy my link. I type in link to lab. I go to insert link. Okay, so now I have the link to the lab. That's it.
Thank you.
So you don't put the movie there directly, you just put the link to your, okay? Piece of cake?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's save it.
Hold on, I have a question. So the videos that we did when we were doing the project, we're supposed to put them in the report too, or are we supposed to submit those separately in the Mentos in
No,
that lab?
you need to upload those independently, right? You upload those, you put them on either your Google Docs, right? You can store them on your Google Docs, but you need to make sure that I have access to them, right? Or you could put it on YouTube. If you put it on YouTube, you don't have to worry about it. You just make sure that you have access granted to anybody who gets to the link, right? So in that case, you just want the link to the videos. You don't want to put the videos in there directly because the videos are going to take up too much space. And then I won't be able to use Canvas the way I want to use Canvas. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it'll get to the point where you won't be able to upload anything like any of your assignments because you have too many videos.
So if I done the uploading on YouTube, there's like a section where it tells you, it's like a private or I don't recall the thing. But if I share the link with you, you'll be able to access it, correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
It also, but it depends on how you share the link with me. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
So what's due today is only the results on the Excel sheet, correct?
That is correct. So
Oh, okay.
all you need to do is, and then the other thing is that you want to put the link to all of the results. So what I would do is say full table, give me the link to your full table. So full table. Link. Yeah. Let's see. Link.
So I think I went ahead of myself. I actually did the lab results on the Excel sheet, and I also uploaded the YouTube videos onto that assignment. So you'll have extra videos on there.
Okay. Okay. So in the future, don't put it on there because what happens is it'll start clogging up your Canvas.
Can I delete it?
Show.
Can I
What's
delete
that?
it? Can I delete
think
it?
you can. I think you can. Not 100% sure. So I'll find out for you for sure. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Someone asked in the chat, when is the lab due?
So the lab technically will be due next Friday, but again, this is self-paced. So I would turn it in as soon as I can because then that means I got grades already. If I wait until the last minute, I don't know my grade to anything until the very end, So yeah, and if you took in the time to already do all the writing, it makes no sense to keep it. So just go ahead and submit it. Okay.
If I have any questions regarding when I'm gonna submit everything, I could just shoot you an email, right? Just to get
You can always shoot me an email or you can even shoot me a text. My phone is on the syllabus. Text message, you get a response faster typically than you would get with an email.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm still kind of iffy about it. I'm not 100% like,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
I might have some questions once I'm actually processing on submitting the stuff.
okay, that's fine. That's fine. And anything that we may have gone over during the thing, it's going to be recorded and be posted. I'm actually going to post this as well. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. That's it. I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a good weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week.